Hello, Tammy here again, and now we are on part 4 of 5 in a series, Influencers, What They Really Want, and How to Get Unstuck. And this section is all about the effective use of influencing tools and what are the causes of resistance. So if you think about influencing, if you have a project or an initiative, and you're trying to influence others and you're trying to find who your influencers are that can help propel something forward, you're really looking at those two things. And so the big reveal is coming up on what is the most effective influencing style. So you'll find that out here at the very beginning of the session, and you will be surprised. I know I was, and it's going to be good. So again, influencers, part 4 of a 5-part series, what they really want, and how to get unstuck. Enjoy.
All right. Influencing effectiveness. So you have a strategy there. Some strategies create resistance, some create compliance, and some create commitment. Every one of them does a little bit of both, or all three. Inspiration is your number one best way to influence people. And inspiration and inspiring others is learnable too. There's a lot of ways to do that we'll talk about. Consultation is a very strong way to influence also. And I would drop down to personal appeal. That is actually the third most powerful. And those aren't in order exactly, but inspiration, consultation, and personal appeal. You'll see the commitment level on the right is what I'm looking at. 90%, 55, and 42. There are others there that are powerful. Notice that rational persuasion creates 47% in people resistance. So that was one of my favorites early on. But I switched that. I learned how to inspire people. I've learned how to consult and bring people in. And when I really need help, some of my closest relationships, I do a personal appeal, and that has helped quite a bit. And then I help others too. So it really comes down to just learning. And take it from me, the personal persuasion, rational persuasion person, it wasn't very effective. As much as I thought logic would drive things, it really doesn't. People make a lot of decisions, we know now by neuroscience, through emotions. And so how do you really understand that? And how do you work is you think of inspiration. That's a pretty emotional drive, connecting with something very deep. And personal appeal can be emotional too. All right, so there's our top 3. So we're going to talk a little bit about this, understanding inspiration, consultation, personal appeal, and how can you approach things like that if that's different for you. All right, so inspiration. We talk about inspiration, and you have to think about what it is you're going to say and how you're going to say it to inspire others. So what about your initiative or your business can connect with other people's own values, ideals, goals, and aspirations? So what is it about that helps? For me, what my passion is to help share and teach others what I know. I try to make the complex simple, and that is really where my passion is. I believe anyone can do anything they put their mind to if they just understand it in its most simple terms, and that everything that's complicated can be boiled down to start out with simplistically. And so I'm very passionate about helping others to manage through change, that it is doable, and I believe that taps into people's own goals and their own aspirations of being able to make change happen. So if you want to inspire people, you have to figure out what about your project, your company, your business, what values and ideals and goals do you have that would match other people's. Second, can you demonstrate your belief in people that they can accomplish the change that you're inspiring them to do? So you want to inspire people, but you also want to demonstrate that you believe that they can do it. Sometimes your belief in them will carry them over the finish line. I see that all the time. That's why I truly believe if you want to influence others and get unstuck, you can do it. You just have to think through what it is that drives and motivates people write it down, memorize it, and then talk to those points that match up to what you're trying to accomplish. It is doable. Okay, second, consultation. How can I involve this person along the change journey? So when you're consulting with folks, you're bringing them into the fold, you're asking them to help make either decisions with you or give input into the decision making, but they feel a part of the change. And if they feel a part of whatever's happening, they can get excited about it and sell it with you because they're helping to make the decisions that drive the outcome. Bottom line, people get excited about that. The other piece of consultation is you have to be ready to negotiate when there are concerns and suggestions. It can't be 100% your way or the highway. It has to be going into it. You have to look at what can I back off on, what can I give up if I can get buy-in from this group. So it's about trade-offs and it's about compromise in a positive way. So that consultation approach, think about those things if that's the approach you want to use to influence others. And third is personal appeal. Who do I already have a relationship with that I can appeal to for support? We all have those people in our lives, whether it's 1 or 10, we do have them. So what is it that you need? And it's okay to ask for help, and people typically want to help. What can you share with that person about why you trust them? So maybe it's a newer relationship too that you're getting to know someone, and you can share with them a personal appeal with people that are newer in your life or newer in the business that you're meeting, and just explain, we have a lot of the same ideas on some things. I really share your thoughts as well. I'd really like to see if you can support me on this, and this is what I'm doing. This is why I'm doing it. This is why I'm passionate about it. This is what I believe about it. And again, come back to inspiration, connect the dots with them on what's important to you and why, so that they can buy in. So these are 3 very, very strong approaches to influencing others. It does take some work. It does take time. It took me a while to really learn how to bring that inspirational piece in. It took me a while to feel comfortable with a personal appeal. Consultation was pretty easy because I'm a consultant, but those other 2, it took a little bit of work. So it just takes time, and it just takes thinking through it, writing it down, and then start to practice it in your mind of how you want to do that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about resistance, because that is where you can get stuck. And there are ways to manage resistance that we're going to go through. But let's first talk about the cause of resistance. And so I think about causes of resistance, it's different for an employee versus someone who's a little bit higher up in the company, a manager or above, because you have different concerns. So an employee may be resistant to a change because they're not aware of the business need for what's changing. So if I back up a little bit, I know I have a wide audience. So this is in corporations, medium-sized businesses and above. You're doing some type of change. You're implementing a new system. You're updating processes, procedures. Employees are not aware of the need. And this is where the benefits case comes in, and selling the idea and the concept of what's good about this for you as well as me. So employees need to understand that. They also fear their loss of job. We've seen this over and over again in the last 15 years and how businesses run now. So people fear losing their job and having to move on. That's a big deal. That's their livelihood. Lack of visible support and commitment from managers. So if their manager isn't bought in and their manager doesn't feel a need to do something, then the employee won't either. So let's talk about managers. So why do managers resist? Company culture, especially risk-averse cultures. So it's interesting, if you're a manager working in a medium to large business, culture drives a lot, and even in small businesses actually too. So they will resist things if there is a more risk-averse culture that they're in, because it gives them more permission to. So that is one. Past negative experiences with change, well, that could be true for any of us. We've all had them. But companies who don't manage change well, lots of experiences there. It affects people and their perception of new change. And then last but definitely not least, people resist change as I'm a manager. They don't trust each other between departments. And that's a sad thing, but it's very common. Each department, has to run their own show. And when there's mistrust between departments, that's a big deal because every company has to integrate and work together with many departments. So it causes a lot of challenges, but there are ways to overcome. Now, if you're a small business owner and you run into resistance, I think what's important here is that people will, buy your services or goods or product, and they'll have feedback, right? So you're going to have people that are happy, unhappy. So resistance here looks a little bit different for the small business owner. But understanding these concepts can help because even as a small business owner, if you have employees, this still applies.